I've completed The Witcher 3, and I've lost count of how many times I've done that, and I'm 100% certain that it definitely won't be the last time. Even though I've made videos about Witcher mods before, I never actually used them for a full playthrough. But this time I decided otherwise, and I want to share with you the mods I used. Some of these mods have already appeared in previous videos, while others were completely new to me. I didn't want to heavily mod the game and change its essence, so these mods can be used by new players and by people who have already played The Witcher 3 and simply want to improve the experience. So subscribe to this channel to see more similar content, like this video, and let's look at the mods. Allow me to start with the mod that in my opinion absolutely everyone should use. Even if you like to play the game in its vanilla state, or if this is your very first playthrough and you want to experience the game as the developers intended, I still strongly recommend installing Brothers in Arms. What this mod does is essentially unlock the full potential of the game. It fixes thousands of small bugs and restores a huge amount of cut content, including books, documents, journal entries and dialogue lines. It even adds new quest endings and introduces an entirely new activity, boat racing. And none of this comes from the author's imagination. The team spent hundreds of hours restoring content that was originally cut by the developers themselves. They've done it not just by ticking a few boxes, but sometimes by rebuilding the whole cutscenes based on the description found in the game files. All of that allows us to actually experience the game in a way that feels closer to the original look. Another mod that I would consider a must-have is the Dynamic Appearances project. You see, the events in The Witcher 3 surely took days or even weeks, and it always bothered me how Geralt constantly changes his appearance with different armor sets, hairstyles and equipment, while most other characters look exactly the same throughout the entire story. Even Roach doesn't look the same at different stages of the game. Thankfully, the mod makes characters change their clothes once in a while. Of course, not every character is affected by this mod. It mostly applies to characters who are important to the story. Obviously, it applies to Yennefer. She still keeps her iconic black and white style, but now there's much more variety. Her dresses now match the occasion far better, whether she's attending a formal event or investigating something deep in the woods. The same goes for Triss. She has a usual street attire for a job in the sewers or a simple outside walk, but when she's at home, she changes to a noticeably more comfortable look. Of course, Ciri as well occasionally wears something other than her white shirt. One of my favorite examples is an outfit she wears while staying at a temporary shelter. It genuinely looks like borrowed clothing she only plans to wear for a day or two. In my eyes, these simple attire changes bring immeasurable impact to the story and understanding the time progression. Dandelion is probably one of the best examples. After certain events in the story, he looks freshly washed and perfectly groomed in the vanilla game. But he shouldn't. The mod changes him into worn, ripped clothing, looking exhausted and unkempt. Then, as the story progresses, he slowly recovers, returns to his usual stylish outfits and even grows back his facial hair. While in the vanilla version, he just stays the same as if nothing ever happened. And I have plenty of examples of how else this mod changes characters and how needed these changes are. Even though I don't think Yennefer's face needed any changes, I installed this mod anyway. It's not like her looks bothered me, I just wanted to modify it for the sake of modding. The changes are actually very subtle, and without a direct side-by-side comparison, they are quite difficult to notice. Overall, the mod makes her eyes a bit more violet and slightly tweaks the shape of her face. And since we altered Yennefer's appearance, we have to do the same for Triss as well. Triss modification is more noticeable than Yennefer's one, as the face structure has undergone quite changes. The nose is different, fewer freckles, eyebrows are also different, slimmer chin, and so on. Her hair color has also been modified, giving her a slightly different overall appearance. Fortunately, these mods are fully compatible with Dynamic Appearances project. The only issue I've noticed is that Triss' hair can occasionally switch between brown and red, depending on the outfit variation being used. If that bothers you, it's easy to avoid by simply sticking with the default hair. Despite the enormous number of question marks all over the maps, I simply can't play The Witcher 3 without clearing every location, completing every quest, finishing every contract and finding every random encounter. The problem is that keeping track of all that progress can be a nightmare. Constantly searching online to figure out which quests you've completed and which ones you're still missing gets frustrating very quickly. Progress on the Path mod eases that pain by tracking your in-game progression and presenting everything in one convenient place. Main quests, side quests, scavenger hunts, Witcher contracts, and even missable quests are all nicely cataloged and easy to browse. What's even better is that the mod can place markers on the map, showing the locations of random encounters, which again means less googling. Another feature I found incredibly useful is the Gwent card tracker. No more checking card lists online or trying to guess which cards are still missing from your collection. The mod keeps track of everything for you, allowing you to spend more time doing what really matters. Of course, I'm talking about Gwent. Whenever I see an opportunity to play a round of Gwent, I take it. Zero can wait.
Tak!
Gwent Redux expands and rebalances the card game, overhauling nearly every aspect of it. Thanks to it, changing the deck's leader means actually changing its leader. Instead of simply swapping descriptions, you can choose from a variety of lore-accurate characters with fitting abilities. The decks themselves have also received plenty of attention. Many new cards have been added, while existing abilities have been reworked and redistributed. Certain abilities are no longer limited to just one or two factions. For example, spy cards aren't exclusive to Nilfgaard and the Northern Realms anymore. They can now be found across all factions. The cards have also received a visual makeover. Many of them feature new artwork and some even come with multiple visual variations that can be selected through the mod menu. The way I'm presenting this mod might sound underwhelming, but there are actually a few pages worth of changes, and I highly encourage you to check it out yourself. All links to this and other mods from this video can be found in one place, in the video description. Another mod I find interesting and immersive is the economy system. During the game, Geralt operates with Novigradian crowns, but he can also find Florens and Orens while exploring the world. In the vanilla game, these currencies serve a very limited purpose. You can only exchange them for crowns at the bank. This mod changes that by greatly expanding their functionality. Thanks to it, different regions now use their own currencies. For example, crowns are now used in Novigrad, Oxenfurt and other Redanian regions. Orens circulate in Velen and White Orchard. Florins are used in Toussaint and territories controlled by the Nilfgaardian army, which are the Zima and their camps in Velen and White Orchard. For the Isles of Skellige, the mod introduces ducats, a new lore-accurate currency that is also used in Sintra, Cadwen and Adirn. This new monetary system makes the world feel much more believable. People trade using the currency of the region, which means that when you travel somewhere new, you either have to earn the local currency or exchange your money, which makes banks a lot more useful now. But in my case, I wanted to have at least some money in each currency, so I would complete some contracts or play Gwent to swell the coffers. And all I can say is inflation hit Velen hard. I had to spend thousands of Orens just to brew some potions. And I needed a lot of those, because with the Alchemy mod, potions are no longer replenished through meditation. When Geralt consumes a potion or throws a bomb, they simply disappear from the inventory, so we need to brew them again. Brewing has also undergone changes. Let's look at Swallow as an example. Now brewing is possible only when meditating and when there's a fire close to you. The ingredients used for potions consist of various alchemical substances that I'm not going to pronounce. Instead of using specific static ingredients, we can replace them with these substances or with herbs and monster parts that share the common substance. Every potion also requires a flask, so all those empty barrels and vials have finally found a greater use. When using standard herbs and low-quality alcohol, it will result in the regular Swallow potion. But if we change ingredients to pure substances and use a high-quality alcohol, it will give us a superior Swallow potion. As a result, the alchemy menu becomes much less cluttered, and brewing potions feels far more engaging. The fact that alchemical items no longer replenish automatically also explains why you'll want to carry so many herbs and monster parts. Eventually, you can actually run out of ingredients, which gives you a genuine reason to gather resources in the wild and buy them from merchants. Potions also take longer to manifest, and toxicity is eliminated slower, making preparation much more important than in the base game. Since alchemy became more expensive, I think it's only fair to compensate for it by increasing potion durations to something closer to The Witcher 2. Potions from the second game could last for dozens of minutes, whereas in The Witcher 3, potions last only for a few seconds. Restoring those longer durations creates situations where a single flask can last through several monster encounters. That made the situation with alchemy slightly easier, but in my opinion, everything balances out nicely. I still have to gather ingredients and brew potions, but at least they don't disappear after every other fight. The mod can also increase food durations, which means I no longer have to loot every piece of bread and water I come across. But of course, nothing can stop me. I will search every chest and crate that I come across on my way. Thanks to the mod, my looting efficiency reaches its absolute peak. Instead of opening every container one by one, the mod gathers the contents of all nearby containers into a single loot window. And it doesn't stop at chests and crates, it works with bodies and plants as well. It's done in a way that when you loot a container, the mod scans for other containers, excluding bodies and others to reduce the clutter. We can configure the mod by adjusting the looting radius for different container types, limit the number of containers looted at once, and tweak additional settings such as guard reactions and depth detection. Obviously, my inventory has now turned into a dumpster. Despite all the junk I've collected, the game stores items in stacks, limited to just 100. As a result, my inventory isn't only filled with trash, sometimes that same trash takes up multiple slots, simply because it exceeds the stack limit. To solve that problem, I installed infinite item stacking. The mod increases the stack limit all the way up to 15,000, which is a number I don't think any sane person could ever reach. As a result, my inventory is still full of garbage, but at least it's organized garbage now. We can also reduce some of the visual clutter that comes with the Witcher senses. Reasonable Senses Configurable allows us to choose exactly which objects should be highlighted. In my case, I only want to see loot, so I disable doors, signposts, notice boards, posters, and all the other things that don't really need to glow. The mod also handles investigation clues. These red highlighted tracks and objects can automatically stop glowing once they've been inspected. There's another thing about Witcher senses that has always irritated me. Sometimes a cutscene starts playing while nearby objects are still highlighted, leaving glowing outlines visible throughout the scene. Thankfully, Instant Witcher Senses fixes that. As soon as I release the Witcher Sense button, all highlights disappear immediately. One thing I was always lacking during my playthroughs was the ability to zoom out the minimap and get a better view of my surroundings. Dynamic minimap zoom solves that problem by allowing us to set different zoom levels for different situations. You can have one zoom level for combat, another for interiors, and a completely different one while riding a horse. And what's most important, now the map zooms out every time I press the Witcher Sense button. Sword FX is a mod that has been around for a decade, and many of you probably already know about it. But for those unfamiliar with it, Sword FX makes your weapons look far more impressive. Whenever we apply runes to a sword, the engravings along the blade begin to glow, with the color depending on the type of rune we've used. The same applies to blade oils. Once applied, they become visually noticeable, making weapon preparation feel a bit more immersive. But the most impressive feature is the ability to add sign effects to our swords. We can make our blade burn with the power of Igni or surround it with magical energy from other signs. It's a purely visual mod, but it does a fantastic job of making Geralt's swords look special. Another visual but much needed mod is different armor, different animations. Geralt is undoubtedly a master swordsman, but even with his mutant abilities it has to be difficult to perform all those fancy pirouettes while wearing layers of heavy armor. This mod adds different combat animation profiles that are applied based on our combination of swords and armor. Heavy armor restricts movement, making Geralt's attacks feel slower, weightier, and far more powerful, just like it's supposed to be. With a medium armor set, the movement is what you'd expect from a Witcher. Geralt remains agile enough to perform spinning attacks and all the other witchery moves. Light armor, on the other hand, lets Geralt go into full rage mode, allowing him to spin, jump, and flex with his movement. When fighting, I always enjoyed watching Geralt absolutely dismantle his enemies with finishing moves, so naturally I wanted to see them more often, but in a way that still felt reasonable. That's where the Fatality mod comes in. Instead of making finishers perform every time, the mod ties them to Geralt's adrenaline level. As a result, finishing moves become more likely the longer a fight lasts and the more momentum Geralt builds. It creates the impression that he's warming up during combat, becoming more focused and deadly with every strike. Then, once his adrenaline is fully charged, Geralt starts slicing enemies, giving them no mercy. It's a small change, but it makes finishers better integrated into the flow of combat. Another immersion-breaking thing that The Witcher 3 has is invisible light sources everywhere, especially in cutscenes. Characters are often illuminated as if there's a professional film crew standing just off camera, carefully lighting their faces regardless of where the scene takes place. It looks good, but it doesn't always make sense. Quest cutscene lighting edits addresses this by removing most of those invisible light sources. As a result, many scenes become noticeably darker and more atmospheric. After all, if a character is sitting in the basement, a cave, or some other poorly lit location, you shouldn't expect perfect studio lighting. In case you find these changes excessive, the mod has several variations. You can choose the grim variant, which removes all of the extra lighting, or opt for one of the lighter presets that only eliminate the most obvious lights. Now that a lot of the time we watch Geralt do things in the darkness, I thought it would be cool to make his eyes glow. I understand that it's probably not the most lore-friendly mod, but it looks really nice. And the effect isn't limited to Geralt. Every Witcher in the game gets glowing eyes as well. The mod is also highly customizable. Personally, I use the yellow version because it feels the most fitting. But if you're weird enough, you can go with blue, red or other colors, there are plenty of them. After picking the color, there is also the ability to choose brightness. I prefer the medium setting, since the brighter options can look a little over the top, but the choice is entirely up to you. In addition to the new cutscene lighting, the Promotional Atmosphere lighting mod brings a fresh look to Neverland. The mod slightly desaturates the game colors, creating a grittier and more depressing atmosphere. While the changes are noticeable throughout the world, the best impact can be seen in Velen. In the vanilla games, some places looked a bit out of touch. The grass is vibrant green, the sun shines brightly, birds seen in the distance, and yet the nearby village is starving, the fields are stained with blood, and corpses hang from the trees. Of course, nature can't be dependent on someone's mood, but this mod emphasizes the misery and despair of this place. It reminds you that this isn't a fairy tale world, it's a harsh, brutal place where most people are trying to survive, and the visuals now reflect that far more convincingly. The mod doesn't change anything in Toussaint, but that's probably for the best. After all, Toussaint is meant to be this colorful fairy tale land, and the vanilla visuals suit it perfectly. Unlike the war-torn regions of the north, it's supposed to feel vibrant, cheerful and almost unreal. The only visual mod I used there was clear Toussaint lighting, which removes the yellow tint that covers the world. The changes are fairly subtle, but I find them necessary. The colors look cleaner, the image feels more natural, and most importantly, I no longer feel hot just from looking at the screen. Cinematic fast travel serves absolutely no practical purpose, and yet I installed it anyway. For some reason I got bored of the original taste test fast travel and decided to try the modded one. The mod replaced the standard transition with a more cinematic camera pullout that actually reminds me a bit of character switching in GTA 5. Changes don't feel drastic, but it's nice to have something new, although the mod has its problems. When you interact with the signpost but then decide not to fast travel, Geralt will become completely stuck and refuse to move. When that happens, your only options are to fast travel somewhere anyway or reload a previous save. Fortunately, this bug didn't bother me very often, so the cinematic visuals were still worth the minor inconvenience. With the Gameplay Manager, I was able to configure many different aspects of the game. The mod allows you to tweak both difficulty settings and various UI elements. If this is your first playthrough, I would recommend changing as few options as possible, especially anything related to equipment and the skill tree, since those can significantly make the game easier. Beyond that, however, there's a lot of useful quality of life customization available. You can disable the intro video, enable fast travel from any point, adjust the amount of money vendors carry, always receive full experience points, and much more. Since I used all of these mods together throughout my entire playthrough, they are obviously compatible with each other. If you have any questions about the mods, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to help. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video and leave a roach emoji in the comments if you watched till the end. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.